long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So yesterday was the anniversary of the premiere opening weekend of the worst movie ever made, The Last Jedi. In fact, I think if you had to compare it to The Room would win the Academy Award because at least it's interesting and you're not pissed off at the end to the point where you want to crush the filmmaker like a bug. And it's interesting because on Twitter, or X, the Rogues Gallery of Dipshittery is opened up a huge celebration on X about what a great movie it was, blah, 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 blah. And, of course, kissing Rian Johnson's ass. Now, I think that this was planned. I think it was planned because Pablo Hidalgo's involved with it. And he threw his 3 cents in. Let's see, other people that I've noticed get a lot of shit from the Reylos that are left. So here's one complaining that these characters were not used enough in Star Wars in Star Wars. And you got exactly 6 years till the best scene in Star Wars was filmed by Star Wars culture, and it's the throne room scene, which is probably the worst choreographed lightsaber scene ever in the history of Star Wars. But this is the level of intellect we're dealing with. These people know nothing, okay? They've been raised to believe that nothing that happened before they were born mattered, okay? They really do think that. They honestly... the Fraser Crane, Copernicus called, and no, you are not the center of the universe, is fitting for them. This is a terrible scene. It was choreographed badly, and yet, here we are. So let's go further. All right, Dan Marcus, 6 years ago, I just watched The Last Jedi, and I immediately fell in love with the film. And this guy's an idiot, okay? And it just proves that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Something can be visually pleasant to look at and still be shit, which is exactly what The Last Jedi is. In fact, I really don't think it was that remarkable as far as how it was filmed. I've seen David Lean films which were much better. If you really want to get into it, but these people need to do this. So here's the problem. And the problem is people at Lucasfilm are still trying to drive the narrative that somehow this was a great movie. Look, anybody with the brain knows it wasn't a great movie. And what was going on behind the scenes was literally the most unprofessional, immature bullshit I have ever heard in my life. From the treatment of the guy that played Admiral Akbar to how they treated Carrie and Mark. Carrie wasn't well enough to have a say, and she couldn't defend what she probably wanted to do with Leia. Okay. Mark doesn't have the cachet of Carrie Fisher. Okay. He sure as hell doesn't have the cachet of Harrison Ford, who probably would have gotten Rian Johnson fired. But let's examine what they did to Mark Hamill first, okay?
10 long weeks, the Star Wars company labored on the suburban London sound stages, bringing to life a film that had begun as an idea with George Lucas 3 years before.
No, stop. Not one more crooked word. Your tongue could open a wine bottle.
Never had an agent. It's not like she worships the devil.
Well, she doesn't have to. He worships her.
I can't believe this. You're actually kicking me out?
Do you want me to draw you a picture?
We'd be here all night.
Get out!
So, despite his protestations that they weren't representing Luke correctly, and despite Mark's warning that the fans would hate it, Rian Johnson proceeded to abuse the character of Luke Skywalker. Now, I've got the idea of why. These are people, the people that made TLJ, are people who are dyed-in-the-wool, quote-unquote, Marxists. And they hate the idea of billionaires. I mean, we've gone through the Pablo Hidalgo's, all billionaires should be disappeared and mulched or whatever he said. What I think, and because this dumbass right here, that stupid look on his face, believes he's an auteur up there with, I don't know, Martin Scorsese or somebody, or Francis Ford Coppola, that kind of a director. He made this movie to attack Star Wars itself and George Lucas in particular, because George Lucas, through his hard work, made too much money, and this dumbass doesn't like it. Translation, he's a greedy little prick, and Rian Johnson is, and it upset him greatly that a simple story like Star Wars, like The Empire Strikes Back, like The Return of the Jedi, the prequels, and the Indiana Jones stuff that made Lucas, through his hard work, a lot of money, that offends Rian Johnson because he'll never be able to do it. This movie was a personal comment on Lucas himself. Okay, if you look at this poster, Luke rising up behind all the protagonists, and of course Kyle Ron, the douchebag. This is a villain's poster. Okay, and let's talk about just how badly Mark was treated. He got to the point where he was crying on the set. He was so upset about what they were doing. They bullied the guy that played Admiral Akbar. Okay, we know the story. When he's killed, they had him go up and say, "It's a rap," in Akbar's voice, and then started laughing at him. Okay, this is unprofessional movie making. This is immature frat boy, not even that, teenage, preteen boy bullshit, bully shit. That's exactly what happened. Okay, they did it to Mark, they did it to Carrie. Now let's talk about the fact that they made Han Solo's death completely irrelevant. To the point, people complained so much that they added the memorial service to the novel, and when you read it, it's basically Leia doesn't want to do it, Akbar makes her do it, and all the younger crowd is pissed off because they have to remember an old dude that didn't matter, that was irrelevant. That's what these people think. They think this about anybody who doesn't either agree with them or is older. And they think that about their own goddamn parents, okay? That's what they do. And when Jason Fry, who wrote the book, had to put the funeral in there, the memorial service, he complained about it. Now, we have these, like I showed you, the lucky dice. Anybody remember the lucky dice in any of the original trilogy? Anybody? Bueller? No, of course not. Because that wasn't part of it. Rian Johnson takes this irrelevant piece of trivia that no one cares about and uses it to symbolize Han. Okay, everyone's looking around going, didn't matter, didn't know anything about it. I am a Star Wars fan. I know a lot about how they made the movies and stuff. But no place did George Lucas, Harrison Ford, or anybody during the making of the original trilogy talk about the dice. Now, here's another problem. This is from 2017 when the movie came out. This girl named Tracy King posted this on a website, and it's like, this is when you know you're fucked as a film goer. Again, Carrie's treated like shit. She was already very sick at the time, and which is why she spent a good part of her role in the movie being pretending to be in a coma. We had Leia Poppins, which apparently was Kathleen Kennedy's idea. This is disrespectful, and of course, the whole Holdo thing. What the fuck? There was no consistency with Luke Skywalker. No consistency at all with Leia. Okay, J.J. Abrams is the one that started this with the de-evolution of their characters. You don't, again, as a person gets older, they change. Rian Johnson, Pablo Hidalgo, and all the rest of this subpar humanity basically don't think you evolve in character or wisdom past the age of 15, which is why we got Mark being treated like shit, Carrie being treated like shit, and Han being treated like an afterthought or irrelevant in the movie, and the stupid novelist who couldn't write a complete coherent sentence bitching about having to do something for that character in the novel because the fans were like, where the fuck? We were expecting this and this is what we get. And now they're trying to celebrate this like it's some sort of, avant-garde masterpiece, like, I don't know, like the 1920s version of Metropolis or, you name the movie, an auteur film like The English Patient, which was also a nihilistic piece of shit when you really look at the story. Okay, this is the problem that The Last Jedi has, because it satisfies these left-wing activist types who think they're actually creatives. Meanwhile, the 90% of the movie-going audience feels violated by having seen it. Okay, again, and the reason is, it's a terrible script, it's a beautifully written pig. Okay, that's what it is. It's a dumpster fire that looks pretty. Okay, you know how they say toxic chemicals when they burn have beautiful colors to them? Well, here's The Last Jedi. There you go. I mean, and they can't accept the fact people don't like it. So now we've got them rallying around 6 years later, shoving this shit down our throats. And they, I'm going to say this. Rey doesn't sell characters. The Galaxy's Edge Star Wars Hotel is closed. They're phasing out the sequel characters at the parks. There's a reason why. Because these movies sucked, and TLJ is the worst of all of them. Well, actually, I still think TFA is worse because it was the gateway drug to this shit, okay? And what they're doing is they're trolling us, okay? This was a deliberate, organized attempt at getting attention for themselves and their cause, okay? So don't buy it. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.